And I guess I will start with Shuchitaji. And then I think Bhakti and Shreya would also like to answer, so you can jump in right after her.
Yeah, so Chinmay Mission in India has a school, a Purohit course, and everybody is allowed to join that from wherever part of the world. And so some of them go back to places that don't speak English, right? So it works for them. And in our temple, we have just gotten added to our family 2 priests from India, and they're working on their English, right? They do English classes, they interact with the community, they're learning our culture, right? Because it's a culture shock for them as well. And what they studied when it came to our Shastras was different from what I studied when it came to our Shastras. I studied the more of the symbolic, meaning of things. I studied more of the Upanishads, right? In terms of understanding and how to convey the message to others. Whereas with them, it was a lot of chanting and rituals. So when both of us converse about any kind of puja that we do, we bridge that gap between us and we help each other out, right? Because our priests are phenomenal. Like, most of them speak 4, 5, 6 different languages. It doesn't happen to be English, right? But they have the ability to do that. Second thing is we have chanting classes for kids and adults here, right? And basic how to do a puja. Whether it's Satyarayana Puja, whether it's Ganesh Puja, Lakshmi Puja, as Hindus, we're all able to do those pujas as long as we understand what it means and the shlokas. We learn the shlokas and the mantras. So in terms of having a purohit, in our devalayas, you don't need some, in between for your connection with God. Right? We don't need the confession. We don't need a barrier between us and Bhagwan. We can worship Bhagwan directly. So when it comes to the smaller pujas we do at home, we can learn how to do that from the priest and do it and explain it. And when it comes to the chanting and the rituals and all of those things, they can teach us. So we have classes for kids, we have classes for adults, and there are people being trained here on how to do basic rituals, and they've actually done rituals at our temple. Like, we didn't have a priest during COVID. We as sevaks did the pujas and abhishekams. I did the abhishekam, right? And I didn't go to a traditional purohit school, but the meaning of it was there, the intention was there, so we moved forward, we managed, right? So I think it's about learning from each other and knowing that, yes, language, English, people can learn.
Thank you so much. Shrey and Bhakti, do you guys want to jump in?
Yeah, I'd like to add to that. So one of the things I'd mentioned earlier, utilizing all our cool new digital resources in the world, right? So one thing I've seen at a couple of gurudwaras, which I love, when there's something going on, they have multiple screens with a full explanation of what's going on. So that kind of takes a little bit of the pressure off anyone who's performing the services, because that's hard for them, right? They have this responsibility of doing things right, but then on top of that, learning a new language and a new culture and connecting, that's a lot to put on a person. So let's release that burden a little bit. So for example, if you have a Mahashivratri puja going on, have the Rudram going along the side, have the meaning, and have the quick explanation of what's going on and why. So they may not have, it would be nice for them to stop and speak, but if they're not comfortable, that won't make the situation more difficult than it has to be. Enhance our process rather than change it completely and cause a lot of discomfort.
Shrey?
Yeah, I think in our own ways, we're all, priests or ambassadors for our culture, right? We are the face of our culture to the rest of the world, and we are not gonna, not everyone is gonna have the chance to go through a formalized priesthood school to be able to represent that, right? But in our, I think we can do it best to our capability and level. And what I mean by that is, for me, I'm not gonna be able to learn all of the stotrams that are out there. I may learn 2 or 3, and if I can do those for an utsav with the same love and intention to celebrate that utsav, then I think that's powerful, right? And if I can explain the significance of that stotra and I can convey that to other people of different generations, then I think, that's good enough. I think there doesn't need to be, we don't need to go through a 1 or 2 year long courses where we learn about the intricacies of every stotra, right? Because then at the end, that might just create more barriers and not everyone will be able to do it. But if we, as responsible adults in the community, can take the responsibility and say, hey, like, I want to be able to at least answer these types of questions to my youth and do what it takes, then we can live up to that ambassador or that, mini priest title, that to the level of, hey, we can be proud of who we are, we can explain it,